Hello! Since I collect figures and there are none of 47 that are based on his look of the trilogy, I wanted to make my own Agent 47 out of a Ken Barbie doll. For this, I bought a special edition of Ken from the BMR 1959 series. He comes in this fancy box and a very flashy outfit. What's special about him is that he has joints, so he is fully movable, unlike the normal Ken. And his face also kind of was similar to 47th. After I freed him from his cage, I unfortunately had to decapitate him. You have to be careful though not to damage the head mount. Since 47 was bald, I had to pluck out his hair. To do this, I first cut off the hair and then used tweezers and a screwdriver to remove the stuck ends of the hair in the head. Now I had to remove the makeup from the head. For this, I used simple nail polish remover. The acetone in it removes the industrial makeup fairly well. Since the head didn't quite look like 47, I definitely wanted to change it. For that I ordered Milliput Superfine White. I have never worked with this modeling clay before, so I tried it out a bit to see how it worked. It's very sticky and adheres well to almost all surfaces, and it dries within 1 to 2 hours, which made it perfect for additional modeling for 47's head. I started with 47's bald head as the doll's head had holes from the hair, which to my knowledge 47 does not have. So I plugged all the holes with the modeling clay. Then I strengthened the eyebrow area from the head. After all, 47 must look sinister. Only very prominent eyebrows can do that. I tried to make his skin as smooth as possible with water. He also got a nose job at the same time, more or less for free with the rest of the cosmetic surgery. Not to forget the razor-sharp cheekbones, of course. For this, I shaped 2 sausages and pressed them on the right and left of his skull. With a lot of love and different tools, I tried to make his face look as good as possible. As the eyes had almost completely disappeared, I modeled them again with 2 small balls of clay. This gave me the opportunity to get him a different eye shape, even though 47 actually has the typical Ken eyes. Pretty men among themselves, I guess. And in case anyone is wondering what that narrow tool is that I used for the eyes and wrinkles, yes, it's a crochet hook, and I can only recommend it. I left the mouth part as it was because it was already fitting. When the modeling clay was dry, it was time to sand. First, I took out my buffer for nails, which with its 4 sides actually had everything you need for a shiny bald head, but the Milliput quickly clogged the pores of the buffer, so I switched to sandpaper. This worked wonderfully. I didn't give up on the buffer though completely. I used it when I wanted to work the surface shiny. All in all, the material was easy to work with. 10 out of 10 can recommend. Now it was time for the color, because 47 is pale, but not white, and especially not blotchy on the face. With acrylic paint, I tried to create the skin tone as well as I could. With 2 brown turds and a puddle of blood, it went quite well. In the end, the head got a bit too dark, but only marginally, so I didn't want to rework it. Sorry, I did a lot of off-camera work at this point. I applied a total of 3 layers so that the white was completely covered. Now you could see quite well that it was supposed to be 47. Of course, 47 still needed some color on his face, so I unpacked my arsenal of materials that I never touch otherwise. These included pastel chalk and watercolor pencils. I then used normal makeup brushes to make 47 pretty and gave him blush, bronzer and highlighter. His lips cost me a lot of nerves because he wasn't supposed to wear lipstick. In the end, I unpacked my smallest brush and tried to draw the lips as well as I could. I traced his bushy eyebrows with a watercolor pencil, which worked just fine. And to get his sky blue eyes, I traced the whites of his eyes with white acrylic paint and then added blue paint as an iris. I tried to achieve his 2000 yard stare, but in the end he looked a bit bored. But aren't those his two moods, tense and bored? And not to forget his barcode. I drew it with simple fine liners, probably not accurate, but that's how he was finished. For comparison, how his head looked before, I was satisfied, so I went straight to his suit. Since 47 probably only wears tailored things, I wanted to do my best to give him a tailored suit as well. I started with his shirt, which I managed more badly than well. I'll still show how I started so you can see I made the latest second shirt and jacket. This version here, however, turned out way too big and didn't fit at all. I probably should have made a proper pattern beforehand, but I did that afterwards. So let's go straight to the trousers, because they went quite well. Using also rather dilettantish methods, I sewed a pair of cloth trousers for him. Because I was lazy, I partially glued the seams. That was a good idea in itself, but unfortunately the glue came through the fabric in some places. That was a bit annoying, but I didn't make new trousers because of that. With Velcro, the trousers would open and close. After I had given the trousers pockets, a waistband and belt loops, I naturally wanted to make the belt too. At first, I made it out of foam rubber, but I quickly realized that it was stupid, so I used imitation leather. I just glued 2 layers on top of each other and ta-da, a little belt. With wire, I even made a clasp. It held more badly than good, however. I made the holes in the belt with a drawing pin. The idea was to make a working belt, but I soon realized that it didn't work as I had imagined. The material barely let the small wire through. In the end, I cut the belt open at the back and put Velcro on it. That way it could be opened and closed quickly. At least the gun matched the trousers. Back to the shirt, which was beginning to make me desperate. I took the first one that didn't fit and made a pattern out of it, which I hoped I could use for later projects and especially for the jacket. At that point, I already knew that from now on, 47 would only get clothes off the peg. The steps were so far the same, only this time I had chosen the measurements a little better. Unfortunately, the collar turned out a bit big, but I wanted to save the whole thing with a chic dark red inlay. I was inspired by the summer suit from Sapienza, still one of my favorite suits from 47. Well, after the flamingo, of course. I even got some real tie fabric for the tie. Unfortunately, this was not suitable for a miniature version as it pulled threads very quickly and was difficult to work with. In the end, I glued the ends so that the tie became a bit wavy. The shirt got a Velcro fastener and buttons that I had made with milliput. The moment of truth came and I noticed that the shirt was still a bit loose, so I made it smaller again. I did that off camera though. The tie, like the belt, was supposed to be a true replica, but here too, it became apparent that the material didn't quite want it the way I did. So I knotted 47's tie, but cut it open at the back and put Velcro on it. This was the only way I could guarantee that it would be easy to put on and take off without the material creasing ugly at some point. The jacket made me pull my hair out again. The procedure was the same as for the shirt, but I quickly realized that this model was now too small. I had also accidentally made the absolution suit, as the seams at the shoulders were already popping. So I made another suit in the middle of the night. In the end, it worked out quite well. With glue, I cheated my way through the home stretch. The moment of truth came and I was allowed to put everything on 47. I had bought the shoes knowing full well that I would never be able to make them look as nice as they did. Everything still didn't fit as perfectly as I wanted, but basically I was satisfied. Especially because my nerves demanded to be satisfied. Now 47's head was allowed on the body and the little assassin was ready. Of course, his weapon could not be missing. I had already made it out of modeling clay for the oven and only had to glue on the silencer. After I had even ironed the little suit, I put the silver baller in 47's hand and asked him to the photo shoot. Like the original, he was a real model and had strong Helmut Kruger vibes. Here you can also see the black shirt, which was actually the ruined jacket of the suit. In addition, I had ordered a grey jumper with the shoes, which was actually made for Barbies, but I think it looks quite good on him as well. Last but not least, I had to dress him in the hipster outfit that came with the original Ken. And let's face it, 47 got rid of Ken and threw him in a container and dressed up as him. Boys will be boys, right? I hope you enjoyed it, much love and see you soon. Bye!